Hello everyone. My name is Narendra. I have total 8 years of experience of teaching core Java. So I'm also a working professional on Java platform. So let us continue with this. Okay. So now whenever I talk about Java, so the first things first, let us discuss what is going to be Java. So what is Java? So basically a question mark comes. Why Java and where Java. So these three things are the things that has to be answered before I start anything else. I need to start or I need to talk about these things. So what is Java? So simple. So whenever I say Java, Java is a programming language. So what is a programming language? A programming language is a language of communication between a user and the system, between a user and the system. So whenever I say a language is a communication medium. So now if ever I want to communicate with the system, I need a resource. That resource is nothing but Java. So Java is simply, so if you want to answer this question, you can just simply say Java is a programming language. So whenever we discuss about any programming language in the world, we just say it is a language which is for the communication between the system and the user. Okay, so now let us discuss why we require Java. So we have languages like C, we have languages like C++, and why we need to handle or why we need to take up Java, or why we need to go for Java. So okay, C was fine. So C is still the fastest language of the world. So C still works faster. Okay, so C++ is enhanced version of C language. Okay, so and C is again an object-oriented programming language. So then slowly the transformation was needed. So slowly the transformation was needed when C and C++ were being, you were good at building the uh, applications which were directly related to the software related things, or if you want to create any uh, operating system software. So for all that, they were perfectly fine. But slowly, as the trend began to so slowly there was a requirement for internet applications. So there was a requirement for internet applications, and there was a huge requirement of a sophisticated language which should be completely object oriented, So in that way, Java has come into the limelight. So whenever we talk about the internet, so Java was also said as the internet language. Okay, so now this answers your question: why Java? So what is Java? It's programming language. Why Java? It is an internet language. Whenever we talk about the internet language, so Java comes to the picture. And Java was not only supporting the internet activities. Java also supports to build application programs, or I can simply say application software. So when we talk about application software, so totally C and C++, okay, so sometimes they can also be used for application software, but they are generally built for some programmatical softwares, or you can say operating system kinds of software. So all those kind of things. So that is where uh, you answer this why. So the where I cannot name or I cannot just suggest being applied in one or two industries. It is not. So if I start giving the list, I can give a whole day. I can give a whole day to it. So where it is applied in various industries. So now, believe me, latest programming languages like Python and the other programming languages are also taking up uh, like they are also built from only. So I can just simply draw a transformation diagram. So wherein C was developed first, so then C++ was developed upon this. Then we have built, then the Java people have built, taking the features of C and C++ again. And now Python, if you see, so they are taking they have so many libraries. Basically, they are built from Java libraries, C++ libraries only. So the base will be this. The base will be this. So obviously, we have answered the three questions: what is Java, why Java, and where Java. So next up, we will talk about object-oriented. So the first thing that we need to start discussing about uh, programming, object-oriented programming, because so before that, let me just uh, tell you who all need this Java course, or who all should take up this. So I will not put any constraint as such, but I have just taken up the first 8 main important things here. The first main important things I want to do, or I want to specify, is the IT professionals, the technical consultant, whoever are interested in, let us say, programming. So Java, so you may think, so Python is coming, then R programming is coming. So Java will never die. So Java will never die, and Java will be as evergreen as it is. So that is what you need to check out. So whoever want to learn can learn. So if you ask me what is the prerequisite, if you have learned C, it is only enough. So you don't require extensive knowledge of C++. Okay. So if you have learned C, that is better. If you have not learned C also, we can tune you up. Not at all an issue. We can tune you up, and we are expertise in tuning up the programmers. So that we will do from our side. It's not at all a problem. So this is what just an agenda who want to take up. Okay. So let us come to the main topic of discussion. As I've said, you Java is like, I can simply put Java into 3 main categories. So first is core, you can say. Then I'll say advanced Java. Okay, so then say the frameworks. Okay, so this you can say this is a Java full stack. Java full stack. So definitely you require the basics of Java. So in core Java, we'll be covering up the base of Java. So when we talk about the basics, when we talk about the basics of Java, so the basics of Java comes like where you have to use, how you have to use. Okay, so now we have answered the questions what, why, and where. So now the main agenda of our total course, how we are going to design, how we are going to apply. Okay, how to design and how to apply. So design, you can say, or you can say develop. Our main agenda is to have how we make you design the program, how we make you apply the program. Okay, so the next question that you can ask me is, if I do core Java only, what I'm going to develop? You are going to develop a standalone application. You are going to develop standalone application. So when I say standalone application, so standalone application is, I'll just take a simple example of a calculator. A calculator doesn't require any internet or anything. You can design that kind of applications by using just the core Java. So if you learn core Java, you are now a standalone application developer. Of course, you need a lot of support to do it, of course. Okay, so then if you want to ask me what kind of applications I will build under advanced Java application. So when you learn advanced Java, so you will be building up web-based applications. So web-based applications means applications which work on client-server atmosphere. So client and server atmosphere. So wherein a client always requests, a server always responds. So this kind of applications you will be building. So you can ask me, so where I have my applications when I develop advanced Java. So you have applications at this level. So at this level, you will be building up your application at the server side. At the server side, you will be developing the applications on the server side. So then you come to framework. So struts, you have Springs, Hibernate, so many kinds of things again. So you'll be working on various servers. You will be building enterprise applications. You'll be building enterprise applications. So this is a Java full stack where we are concentrating now on the core Java part. So when we talk about the core Java, so we are going to learn as simple as that, the core part of Java, which is nothing but the basics of Java. So whenever we talk about the basics of Java, so let us start with a simple discussion on. Okay. So I don't believe in a lot of history, but I'll just try to tell you. I will always take the name of that person uh, who is behind all this. It was okay. So people always talk about one person, but I want to also take these names first. Then I'll go to the main person, who is James Ross. Okay, so these three were a team. They started discussing about a language which can support the internet. They have propounded so many things. Okay, so that is this is their success. I can say that. So Java is their success story. Okay, so how I can define history is Java is the success story of these three human beings. These three human beings. I always put human beings the top priority. Okay, so whatever programming you learn, whatever you learn, so human beings are the top priority. Okay, so I also believe in that. Basically, these three are the people who started journey of Java, and still it is one of the de facto languages which is being learned throughout the world. Okay, so what we are going to build? We are going to build the applications. We are going to build the applications. Just now I was talking about standalone applications. So standalone applications, the primary example now one is using applets. So people have shifted their attention towards various other things like swings and all those things. So we'll be discussing that in the near future. Okay. So at the end of the day, this is the history that I'll take it up very short. Okay. I believe in people, not the history, basically. Okay, right. So whenever I talk about Java being run, okay, so how Java is being working and everything. So I just said you right how Java works. So as what you need to do, you need to develop a program. So let me just show you how we develop a program. So now I'm not just taking the core thing, how we do it, I'm just taking the industry standards. I'm just starting with the industry standards, how we develop programs in the industry. So usually while others train you like take a notepad, type a program, I don't want to do all that. I just want to take up an IDE right away. IDE is an integrated development environment. So nowadays people don't need this stuff, notepad, running in the command prompt. So people don't require all that. So people require the real stuff. So the real stuff is nothing but an IDE. So we are going to use an integrated development environment. So what is this integrated development environment all about? So let me just tell you, whenever you install any software, any programming software, okay, so you just imagine that we have started the course and I asked you to install Java in your system. So once you install Java in your system, okay, so there are so many ways to install. So once you install software in your system, so Java is basically said to be not only a programming language, it is also a platform. It is also a platform. So as a platform, it is going to give you editor environment and it is going to give you runtime environment. It is going to give you runtime environment. I say editor environment and runtime environment. I am talking about uh, uh, editor where we need to develop the programs. When we need to develop the program. So runtime where we need to run the program. Just now I was referring to Notepad. So Notepad is all about where you edit the program, where you develop the programs. And the runtime environment is a command prompt where you run the program. So what I want to tell you is we have various IDEs, of course, but one of my favorite IDEs is NetBeans IDE. So people mostly use Eclipse. Okay, so Eclipse IDE is one of the most famous one. Okay, so but one of my favorites is NetBeans. So of course, anything gives you the same output, so don't worry about the output. Okay, Eclipse. So when we say Eclipse, NetBeans, all these are nothing but the IDE. So what they are going to do? They are going to integrate your development environment and the runtime environment. So that is why we start our programs in this. Okay. So now the first piece of line that you see under any program. So I'll just not be going to tell you how to create and all this. So because it is too early to know this. So let's just create a Java class right now. So let me just create a Java class. So let me just say first class. First class. So just let me just create first class and just say finish. And let me just run. Okay, take a little bit of time because all the integrations are being done on the system. Okay, so if you okay, let's try to erase after them. Okay, so it will just take some time for us to create the class in the backend. Okay, so right, before going to the first program, I just was telling you about object-oriented programming. So when I was saying object-oriented programming, the main intention when I say on object-oriented programming is all about a program being developed by the help of class and object. So if you say object-oriented programming means so many principles we need to follow and everything, yes, definitely it is. But still, what I want to tell you is that in the primary things are going to be the class and the object. The primary things are going to be the class and the object. So whenever we, okay, there is some issue with the class declaration. So now, okay, so this is the class that we have created. So now you see the source. Okay. So now if you see what we have created, so let me just erase all these things. Okay. Now if you see, when I say I create a class, so the first thing that you see is a class. So just now I was discussing, whenever you say Java being an object-oriented programming, we require a class. We require a class. So this is a programmatical way of looking at the class. But still, I want to tell you what is a class. A class is said to be a logical entity. A class is said to be a logical entity. So whenever I say entity, entity is nothing but a person, place, a thing, whatever it is. So logically, virtually, whichever is there. So now, when I say virtual, this doesn't have any physical existence. This doesn't have any physical existence. So this only will look up. This only will look up at the logical view. This only is look. This only looks up at the logical view. So when we talk about the object, we are going to create an object of this particular class. We are going to create the object of this particular class, which will tell me that that is going to be, so where a class is a logical entity, where an object is said to be a physical entity. So which takes up the memory and all those kind of activities. So whenever I say class, class represents the local entity, whereas the object represents the physical entity. Whereas object represents the physical entity, means which will take up the memory and everything. And let me tell you, whenever we create a program by using these basic fundamental concepts, that program is said to be object-oriented programming language. People will give you paragraphs of stories regarding object-oriented programming and everything, but it is as simple as this. When you see a program, you see a class. The class is going to be a logical entity. Logical means which is not physical. It is not physical. Then how can you take up this take the members of this or take up the parts of this class by creating the object, So we will come back and create the object for this. Now, so once I create a program in that way, at the end of the day, you talk C, you talk about C++, you talk about Java. All the programs are said to be high-level programming languages. So people just think that C language is a low-level language or so. No. So whenever I talk about a low-level language, the low-level languages are the languages which are built by using zeros and ones, means directly coded in zeros and ones, which is directly understood by the system. But at the end of the day, how you are creating a Java program? You are just using the basic character set. Let me tell you how simple it is. Basic character set you are using, and you are dividing that basic character set into the basic tokens. What is the basic character set? It is nothing but 0 to 9, A to Z, small a to Z, and all the symbols which you can show up, in a file. So that is a basic character set, and every every component is known as a token. In simple words, Java program is made up of tokens. So if you go to the core understanding of any programming language, it is nothing but it is made up of tokens. So what are tokens? Tokens are the components of the basic character set. Okay, so now as you have written a program, somewhere, okay, so you have written a program. You have written a program and you have saved it as first class.java. So you have saved it as first class.java. So it is not the thing that will be understood by the system. It has to be made understood to the system in terms of class file. Means the Java program must be converted into a bytecode so that the machine can understand. So if you simply write a Java file using the basic tokens, it is not enough for the system. So you need to convert it. Into bytecode. A bytecode. The class file that you are using is the basic class file. So basic fundamental unit wherein you are converting this .java file into a .class. Okay. So that .class file is known as the bytecode. So when we talk about the bytecode, again, still bytecode is still a code which is not still understood by the system. So then at that point of time, you need to make the machine or make the code to run with the help of Java Virtual Machine, which is called JVM. So if you remember, I just told you, whenever you install Java to your system, you are going to get the development environment and the runtime environment. So in the runtime environment, JVM is involved. So which is going to run your program. So this is how you are going to develop. The language, develop the Java language. So you use tokens. I'll just summarize it. You just have to develop the programs using the basic character set, which are put into tokens, and those tokens are used for writing the Java file, and that Java file is converted into the class file, and that class file must be converted into the system understandable format by using the JVM. So what are the processes and all? Don't worry, we will be looking at them. So this is from the outset, you need to understand what we are going to do. So just summarize again. We are going to create a Java file. That Java file is going to convert it into a class file. Okay, so your job is to create a Java file. That's it. You the conversion and everything, your IDE will take care. You don't have to worry about. So you need to worry about using tokens and developing the Java program. So you can feel comfortable. You don't have to convert that into class, and you don't have to convert that into machine understandable code. No need to worry. So you need to just learn how to develop Java. That's it. Okay. So we are experts in making you learn how to program in Java. Don't worry about that. And your IDE will take care of all this. Okay. So this is how we look at a Java program, how Java is going to work. Okay. So now we have answered what, we have answered why, we have answered where, we have answered how. So the main crucial questions that needs to be answered are answered. So when I talk about okay, so Java. So the next question that people are going to ask me is, I have different machines. I have different machines. So I work on Windows, I work on Mac, I work on Solaris, I work on Linux, I work on different environments. Does Java support all the environment? Yes, it does. Java supports all the environment, so you don't have to worry about the environment stuff. Okay, so that is why Java is said to be an independent, or you can say platform independent language. Platform independent language. So why we are calling it as platform independent language? Because we are not going to worry about the platform. You develop a program. So what is your job? Your job is to develop a program. Your job, the IDE's job is to compile it and interpret it, and you put it in any environment. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Okay. So that is where it is said to be platform independent. So you don't have to worry about the platform. Okay. So if you are developing programs on C, okay, you need to absolutely worry about this. Okay, but because C is platform dependent language. Platform dependent. Okay. So this is uh, the one you need to check out for. So it is a language, so wherein we try to use. Okay, I just told you, people tell you different stories about object oriented program. If I don't tell you the story, you also say that okay, I want some stories. Yes, I'll also tell you some stories, but the main is class and object. Okay, if you are not talking about class and object, you are incomplete when you are saying object oriented. So Java is a pure object oriented programming language. The other principles that follow class and object are encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, how these are going to affect your program, or how they are best approached and how they are going to support us. We will see. No issues. So there are so many things that we need to cover up. Okay, so here we are going to see a simple program wherein you are just printing something. Okay, so some random number. Don't worry about the number. Hello world. So instead of world, I have used some other coding, something like that. So now what I am trying to do here is I'm trying to create a class. That class is containing a method. Okay, method. So method or a functionality. So simply, okay, so let me just write these lines in your program, and let us see what is going to happen. Simply let me just write public static void main string. Every word that we are using have a specific understanding, have a specific meaning, So every word that I use here is having a specific meaning. Okay. So let me just create system dot out dot, so println. So let me just create okay. So here the syntax is pretty important. So it is loosely typed language. So you need to be specific about your syntax. Okay. So what's the process? I want the process. Okay. Again, I like. You created a Java program. Yes, done. Then you need to compile it. Then you need to interpret it. So these are that you should do. But as I've told you, we'll do only one thing, because I am very good at programming. I'll do it. Let my IDE do all these things. I want the output. Okay, let me just select it and go to run and just say run file. So once you have run it, okay, you are directly running it, and you want some output from the, told you, right? So learn coding, forget about compiling, interpretation, and everything. You learn coding. So coding is important at the end of it. So once you have run it, okay, when you're running it for the first time, it will just take some time because it has to create the .class file in the background. It has to take that, it has to create, or it has to interpret that. Okay, all that. Okay, so of course, this much time it will not take still. Okay. So this is how we run it. And once you run it, so you are going to Eclipse. Eclipse is a good one, basically. But I love doing programming in NetBeans. Of course, when our classes begin, we will just try to install that Eclipse as well. And I will also show you the traditional way, how to work in the Notepad, how to work in the command prompt. The traditional way also I'll explain. It's not at all an issue. Okay, so until it runs and gets us the output, so let us go back to this thing. Okay, so then, so how to face a problem? How to face a problem? How to, suppose for example, I'm getting a problem wherein I just want to know if the given integer is prime or not. Okay, so don't forget mathematics. Okay, maths is really important in programming. So the basic maths is always important. Once you understand how to apply the things on the basic math, everything will be a cakewalk. Everything will be a cakewalk. And I don't want you to go for the algorithms and everything. Try to be perfect with the math, which will do 80% of your job. Which will do 80% of your job. So what I'm asking you to do is understand the problem. So first you understand the problem, understand the problem definition, whatever the problem it is given to you. So now in this case, when I say integer is prime, so what is the math that is involved here? When you want to say a prime number, so I'll just give you a prime number, something like 29, and I want you to say it is prime or not. It is prime or not. So what is the math behind this? The math behind this is you can create your own algorithm. So never follow algorithms, create your own algorithm. So that is my funda all the ways. Create your own algorithm. So don't try to follow others' algorithm. Try to create your own algorithm. How can you create your own algorithm? By understanding the logic. So once you understand the logic, it is always better if you do it. Okay. So now let us have this program later in the day. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to check, or I want to assume the logic, or I want to go for this logic. So what is the logic all about? Logic all about is taking a number, and that number should be checked for divisibility. Checked for divisibility from 2 to 28. Why you are not involved 1 and 29? If somebody asks me, I'll say every number is divided by 1 and itself. You don't worry about any number. So if you take one more number, so let us say I take 34. So every number is divisible by 1 and itself. 1 and itself. Okay, what is a prime number? The numbers which are divisible by other than 1 and itself. Other than 1 and itself. So try to ignore this. So try to ignore 0. So what I will be checking? I will be checking 9, and I will be checking the divisibility from 2 to 28. If at all I am finding any number in the middle, so I'll justify that it is not prime. If at all I'm not finding anything, I'll say that it is not prime. So that is why I'm saying you have to create your own algorithm. So don't try to depend on the other algorithm. Testing. Okay, so implementation is you have to implement this logic. Testing, so you have to test that logic. A small improvement means if you are saying, okay, so for any number, so I don't have to check if at all a number I'm taking, so suppose if I'm taking a number called 27. So 27, I don't have to check from 2 to 26. If at all I'm finding a divisible here. So if at all it is divisible by one number also, it is if at all it is divisible by one number also from 226, it is going to be a non-prime number. So you can avoid all these iterations. You can avoid all these iterations. That is what improvement, small improvement, another improvement. If you still want to have some improvement over the program, there is always a chance. There is always a chance to decrease or increase the complexity or decrease or increase the improvement. Okay, so at the end of the day, it's the system who is going to take all the burden. So it is always better to improve, and improve. So what I'm trying to say is understand the problem mathematically first and create your own algorithm. So don't try to rely on others' algorithm. Okay, so if you are not perfect with that, just try to go back to your math and try to solve it. Okay, so then implement it, then test it, make some improvements if possible. If small improvement is good, okay. Otherwise, go for another requirement. Okay, so I already told you, right? There is always another way. There is always another. Look at a problem in two different forms, three different forms. Okay, if you are satisfied with one, it's okay for you. If you are not satisfied, or if you want your problem to be defined in various other scenarios, you definitely have to go for another way. So that is where you become a better programmer. That is where you become a better or the best programmer. Okay. So this is how you need to look at a problem. You need to look at a problem. And once I say problem, the only thing that comes to my mind is the errors. When you are doing, when you are implementing, when you are trying out different things, you will be caught up with so many kinds of errors. Any kind of error is taken up in three categories. Either you get syntax error, or you can also call it as a compile time error, technically, runtime error, and the logical error. So logical error means it's your logic error. For example, if I'm just saying increase the salary of an employee by 10%. So usually what people say, salary is equal to salary into 10 by 100. Now you are not increasing the salary, you are decreasing the salary. Okay, you are saying salary should become, so salary is 10,000. Salary is 10,000. So what is the logical error here? So salary is equal to salary into 10 by 100 means what you are trying to do, you are trying to make the salary into, so if I'm just saying, okay, I'll just put the numbers here, 0. So you are making salary as 1,000. Instead of incrementing by 10%, you are making, or you are just decreasing it by 9% for that matter. So that kind of error where there are no errors, where there are no errors in the implementation, but still there is an error where what you follow. So usually what it should be? It should be salary plus salary into 10 by 100. When I'm trying to say this, what I'm going to say? I'm going to say that you need to be logically correct. You need to be logically correct. So you may not have done intentionally, but you need to understand. So that is what improvement is all about. That is what improvement is all about. Okay. So now coming to the runtime error. A runtime error is dangerous because it will stop your program at some point. Whenever you get a runtime error, it will completely stop the flow of your program. It will completely stop the flow of your program. So whenever we look at any runtime error, it will definitely stop your program. Okay, so there will be no warnings also, completely warnings in the sense you will get a message, of course, but it's not a warning, it's an error. Okay, so you put two things always, warnings and errors. When we talk warnings, so they don't stop your program. So they don't stop your program, they will not stop your program. So they will be giving you a bit of warning. They'll be giving you a bit of warning. So wherein we will be looking at, the things. Let me just erase these ones. Right. So let me just go back to that slide. Okay. So as I was talking about the errors, Runtime errors are the errors which will stop the flow of your program. And when we talk about the syntax errors or the compile time errors, simply the programmatical errors. So just now we were experiencing one of the errors. Okay, this is done. So now if you see, hello from Kasha training get got displayed. So from these whole lines of output, you just got only one line as so on the whole lines of input, we just got only one line of output under the class. So this is how we are looking at a program. Now simply I'll just disable this. So it is going to give you. So now you don't have to run it and know the error. So it will be giving you. It will be giving you so many ideas also. Okay. So what is missing? You are missing a semicolon. So what is saying? It is directly saying that if you can watch it, you are missing a semicolon. Means it is definitely giving you some guidelines. So when you talk about this, this are going to be syntax. So when I say, okay, just was saying, okay, so let me just create. Don't worry about the coding. Just try to put so int salary is equal to 10,000. Just I was talking about. I was talking about the salary increment. So now I want you to increment the salary by 10%. So logically, you are going to make a mistake into 10 by 100. So all mathematics again. So 10 by 100. So what to be? Okay. So I'll just use and I'm going to say I'm just going to print salary. That's okay. I don't want to print anything else. I want to print only salary. So now if I run this again, okay, it's always better to save and run. Okay, so once I run it again, it will be displaying not only hello from Kasha's trainings, and also be giving you this salary output. They're also going to give you the salary output, and the salary, instead of increasing it by 10%, you have decreased 90%. So once you run it and state, okay, so you are going to get the count as salary into, so 10,000 into 10 by 100. So whenever you look at this, okay, I don't know, it will run in the background. Okay, so now it's ready. Yeah. So checking correction changes. So now you are getting 0. So 10 by 100. So basically here, so we need to take 0.0. So and if we take 0.0, it's the float. Fine. So we are taking a different type. So okay, again, difference you need to sort out before you take up the things. We just put decimal points there. Okay, so why we are going to use this F? Okay, I think I'm getting. Okay, you see java.lang.runtime except is going to do, it is going to give you runtime except. Means there are some conversions. Okay, of course, when you try to see the changes to be made, I'm using F every time. Means I'm just saying them to have some float values and all, don't worry. Okay, I just wanted to show the exceptions as well. Okay, why 0 we got? There is a reason for that. Why exception if you are not using F? There is a reason for that. So there are so many reasons that we need to answer. Okay, right. So now you can see you have decreased the salary by 90%. You have decreased the salary 90%. What was the mistake? The mistake is you did not put the original salary. Okay, so you did not put the original salary. So that is what the problem is. Okay, so once I use this, and this logic is known as the this error is known as the logical error. So this error is known as the logical error. So these are the kinds of errors that we come across. So when you just go and it's going to give you it is going to give you check into Eclipse now from me as well. Okay, so I may have overused headings. Okay, so now you can see 11,000. So salary increment of 10% on 1,000. 10,000 will be 10 plus 1. That is going to be 11,000. So previously I got 1,000 because you have used the wrong logic. You have used the wrong logic. So this is most common thing that happens to the people who are learning programming. Believe me, not only while learning, while application also, you will be doing so many errors, and at that time you need to just check out them. Okay, so just now I'm using float, I'm using int. So all those are nothing but the data types. So data types means what kind of data that you are going to check out. Okay, so we are going to see operators, different operators like plus, minus. Just now you tested plus. Okay, you tested plus. So like this, we have so many operations. So a plus b is going to be an expression. Okay, and we are going to check out with lot of decision making statements, and we are going to check out various other types also. Okay, so if I tell you in short, so these are the primitive data types that are available: integers, double, boolean, char. You also have different data types like byte, short, and all those things. So definitely, it's time to look out all the things. We also look at these are known as the 8 primitive types. So 8 primitive data types, wherein all these belong to the integer category. All these belong to the integer category. These two belong to the floating category. This belongs to the Boolean category, and this belongs to the character category. Okay, so there are so many things that we need to discuss. Why this? What is the reason behind this? What is the reason behind this? Okay, so there are a lot of discussions need to be done. So it will be fun. Let me tell you, it will be fun. So as I have used all these things, we are going to look at. So we have used int salary is equal to 10,000. So and then we said flow salary is equal to 10 because salary always in decimal. Salary always will be in decimal figure. So that is decimal points. So that is why we took float. When we were taking it, there was some error. So what is that error? Why we got 0? Okay, so all those questions will be answered. So believe me, join us. You will be having so much of fun. You'll be having so much of fun. Okay, in the first part, I told you what is a class, what is an object. Okay, so how to create the object. So you can use a simple line in new. So once you say new, an object will be created. What we have created? We have created a class. And we can create the object. So let us create the object for our class. And let me put all these things under one particular method. Okay, let me just put it as void calculations. Let's try to put it under a functionality rather. Under a functionality. So under a functionality, everything, whatever we wrote it here, everything can be kept into a functionality. Everything can be kept into a functionality. So that functionality is referred as method. So method at the end of the day is a task, or it is a part of the program which is going to perform an activity, one or more activity rather. Okay. So now how can I create the class? So use this first class, say FC. Why you are using FC? Because I'm taking the first letter from here, I'm taking the first letter from here, so it becomes FC. So FC is equal to just how to create new first class. That's it. So this is how you create the object. So people believe that this is the object. This is not at all an object. So this is going to be just the variable. This is going to be just the variable. So this is called as the object instantiation. This is how you instantiate the object. This is how you instantiate the object. Just simply I'll say FC dot. Once I say FC dot, you can see the cal method. So I'm calling this. You create this, you call this. You create this, you call this. So you don't see any encapsulation, any polymorphism, nothing. But you see the fundamental two concepts, class and object. What is OOP? OOP means you have basic fundamental concepts called class and object. You have basic two fundamental concepts called class and object. In the previous case, we did not create any object, but rather we have used the object. Okay, so how we have used also I'll let you know, don't worry. So here we have created the object. Means we are giving a physical entity. We are giving a physical memory to the class. Physical memory to the class we are supplying. And here we are providing a class. So it is a first class. Okay. So then at the end of the day, what will happen? At the end of the day, so this will go and call this, and all these activities will happen. So literally the same output, but with a different approach. Okay, so now you see it got run very, very fast. It got run very, very fast. It was just not it was just taking a split of a second. Okay, let me just run once again and you can see the difference. Okay, so now you see it is very fast because we have created some internal things. Okay, method and everything. So this is how you look at the class development. So this is, believe me, a small program which will increment the salary by, of course, printing the line, increment salary by 10%. If at all you want to increase any salary by 10%, you can do this. Okay. So you can do different things again. You can take this from the console and all those kind of things you will be doing. So many classes we'll be creating, so many applications we'll be developing. Okay, so there are so many built-in classes that we have, we can use them. Okay, so if at all you want to check on other classes at other places, I can go on with that. So there are some important classes which are predefined. So under the classes, all that we can see. So as I told you, it is going to be fun. So whenever I talk about these things, like just now I have created all single kind of things. So now if I want to have the operations, so these are the basic operations that we see: arithmetic operators, assignment operators. So we are going to see a specialized increment and decrement operator. So these are all the facts that we are going to check out in our course. And so you can convert the data types, you can convert one type into the other. So this kind of conversion. So in the previous case, we were doing F and say. So there are many ways. One thing can be performed in many ways. One thing can be performed in many ways. So all that we will be planning and see. So there is a lot of things to discuss. If you join us soon, we will be discussing so many things, and the fun is not only mine, it will be yours as well. Okay, so there are so many things. Again, I just want to give you a simple introduction to how to use the control statements. We have so many kinds of operators as well, as I told you. So we'll be working with different kinds of statements. We'll be working with so many operations, repeated operations. We'll be taking the help of some repeated operations. So one thing can be performed multiple times. One thing can be performed multiple times. So we'll be doing that. So we will be having a great learning learning here. You learn a lot, and you learn it's in the easiest of the fashions. Okay. So I will not be completely dependent on the theory. So I'll be directly giving you a practical example for everything. Okay, so at most I will try to put up a real-time scenario every time, real-time scenario every time. So for every other logic that I use, so which will be useful in the industry. So we will be maintaining all the industry standards. You don't have to worry about that. Okay, so we'll be having so many loops, and we'll be handling different data. We'll be handling different data. So many questions will be answered. Uh, so the only thing that you need to do from your side is you need to join us. You need to join us at Kasha Trainings. Here are our contact number, the mail ID, the website you can go on. Okay, so and don't ever forget, of course, to watch the videos, whatever we have. So we are everywhere. We are everywhere. So please contact in whatever fashion you want. Okay, so we are open for everything. So we are located at different places. Once you visit our website, you'll definitely know what we are and what we are up to. So we always believe in giving the best. We always believe in giving the best, and uh, so at Core Java training, advanced Java training, I'll be assisting you.